The winter silence is officially broken, the vacation photos are archived, the flights are done, and the garage doors are rolling up. And you know what that means.
It's back.
It is back, the rock and roll of Formula One. But listen to me very, very carefully. If you are looking at pictures from the car launches, if you're thinking this is just another season, just a fresh coat of paint, you are walking into a trap. This isn't an evolution. This is a violent, chaotic reinvention.
It's the single most radical shift in a generation.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
And honestly, looking at the reactions online, a lot of people are walking into this completely blind.
That's exactly it. The lie of the preseason. I open up social media and everyone is playing Spot the Difference. They're zooming in on pixels.
On the side pods.
Look at the aggressive inlet on the Ferrari. Check out the floor edge. I want to just scream at my phone. Stop it. You are wasting your time. You are looking at the wrong thing.
It's a hard habit to break, though. I mean, for the last, 5-6 years, Aero was king. You won the world championship by finding a millimeter of downforce. But 2026, that era is dead. The regulations have flipped the entire board.
So the Aero is what, secondary?
It is. The real war, the one that will decide who lifts the trophy, is invisible. It's all happening under the engine cover.
Okay, so that's what we're doing. We are going to tear apart this clean image of the new regulations. We're going to expose the messy, complicated, and potentially explosive reality of these new energy rules. Just a heads up, this segment is part of our news coverage of recent F1 events.
We're parsing the regulations, the rumors, all of it.
And honestly, the rumors suggest the Australian Grand Prix might be an absolute disaster. We're talking about the engine war, the legal threats already flying from Mercedes, which we will get to that. It is spicy. And why the cars are going to drive in a way that just makes zero sense to your eyes.
It's going to look very, very weird.
So let's start there, the battlefield.
Yeah.
Why do you say looking at side pods is a waste of time?
Because the math has changed, fundamentally. The 2026 regulations, they enforce a 50-50 power split.
50-50.
50% of the power comes from the internal combustion engine, the loud part. The other 50% is electric.
Okay, but we've had hybrids for years. What's the real difference here?
The scale. The electric component provides triple the energy it did last year. Triple. It's massive. So in the past, the engine was kind of the supporting actor to the Aero. Now, the engine is the director, the lead actor, or the producer.
Right. So the shape of the car is now dictated by the engine's needs, not the other way around.
Exactly. The cooling for that massive battery dictates the bodywork.
There's a story that I think just perfectly illustrates this. It involves Fernando Alonso and the aerodynamicist Eric Blandon. Alonso asks him, "Hey, have you seen the side pods on the Red Bull?"
And Blandon said what?
He told him he hadn't even bothered to look. He just shrugged it off. He said, "I don't look at the pontoons. They aren't important. We look at the global concept."
And that was before these new rules fully kicked in. So if it was secondary then?
It's basically irrelevant now compared to battery management.
Well, irrelevant is maybe a bit strong. Drag is still drag. But the priority is totally shifted. You can have the most beautiful side pods, but if your energy management software is inefficient, if you run out of battery 10 meters before the braking zone, you will finish last. It's that simple.
Okay.
And that leads to the part that is going to freak fans out the most, the speed profile.
This is the part I'm having trouble wrapping my head around. In the old days, last year it was simple. You hit your top speed at the very end of the straight, then you smash the brakes. Simple.
That's gone. In 2026, the cars will likely hit their top speed in the middle of the straight.
That's right. Okay, so paint the picture. I'm watching a car scream down the main straight at Monza. Halfway down, what happens?
It stops accelerating. In fact, it might actually start slowing down, even with the driver's foot flat on the floor. It's an efficiency calculation. They call it clipping. The electric motor cuts out early to save energy for the next lap. So suddenly the electric boost just dies.
Visually, that's going to look terrible, like a mechanical failure.
It'll look like the driver lifted off the gas.
Oh.
But here's the kicker, and this is where it gets really weird. While the car is coasting, the combustion engine switches modes. It starts acting as a generator.
Wait. So while they're trying to go fast, they are using the engine to charge the battery before the braking zone.
Exactly. Recharging on the straight. Because if they don't, they won't have enough juice for the acceleration out of the next corner.
So we are going to watch drivers intentionally slow down on the fastest parts of the track to charge a battery. That feels so wrong. It feels anti-racing.
It is the new normal. If you keep pushing to the end of the straight like you used to, you deplete the battery. You might gain a tenth on that straight, but you'll lose half a second on the next one.
That completely changes the combat. We're watching resource management at 200 miles per hour. And that means we need a new vocabulary. You said every listener needs to know 3 terms: boost mode, overtake mode, and energy maps.
Those are the pillars of 2026 racing. Overtaking is no longer about who's bravest on the brakes into turn 1. It's about who gets to turn 1 with power left to deploy.
Okay, let's play this out. I'm Max Verstappen. I'm chasing Lewis Hamilton. We're on the straight. What's boost mode?
Boost mode is your defensive shield. Or your attack tool. Remember that mid-straight drop-off we just talked about?
Yeah, the clipping.
Right. So if Hamilton sees Verstappen closing in, he hits boost mode.
Yeah.
This burns his emergency battery reserves to keep the electric motor pushing for a few seconds longer. It delays the drop-off.
But there's a cost, right? He's burning the furniture to keep the house warm.
Precisely. It's a deficit model. If he uses boost to defend and fails, his battery is now empty.
Yeah.
For the rest of the lap, he is a sitting duck. No electric punch out of the corners.
And that's when I, as the attacker, use the big weapon. Overtake mode. The sources are calling this DRS on steroids. What is it?
It's a massive deregulated injection of power. The rules allow a specific mode that gives the chasing car this huge advantage. We're talking an estimated speed difference of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour.
30 to 40 kph. That's not an overtake, that's a drive-by. That is an insane speed delta.
It's enormous. At a track like Baku, it could be even more. But there's a very specific catch.
What's that?
There is only one detection point for overtake mode per lap.
Why? To stop it from being just back and forth forever?
Exactly, to stop the tit-for-tat. If there were multiple zones, you'd just get past, then immediately hit the button and pass back. Endless leapfrogging. This way, if you get past, you have to wait a full lap to reload your weapon.
It's a strategic nuke. You fire it, you pass, and the other guy is helpless. But hold on, suddenly cutting power mid-straight. That sounds dangerous.
It is a major safety concern. And that brings us to the Slooh rate. This is the concept keeping engineers up at night.
Slooh rate. What is that in F1 terms?
So think about the power. The electric motor is giving you around 470 horsepower. Now imagine you're driving, and you just instantly switch off 470 horsepower.
It would be like ripping the handbrake at 200 miles an hour.
Exactly. The rear wheels would lock, the car would torque steer into the wall, the weight transfer would be violent. So the power drop-off has to be gradual.
Okay, so it's not an on-off switch, it's a dimmer.
Perfect analogy. You dim the power down. That curve, how fast the power fades from 100% to 0, that is the Slooh rate.
So engineers have to program a fade-out that's fast enough to save energy, but slow enough that the driver doesn't spin out in a straight line.
Precisely. It's a mathematical tightrope. Too sharp, the car is unstable. Too slow, you waste energy and lose the race. It's an immense amount of trust from the driver.
It sounds like they're programming a computer while driving at 300 kph. We've heard teams have created 100-page PDF manuals just to explain the steering wheel. 100 pages.
It's a paradox, isn't it? F1 management wants to appeal to the Netflix audience. Simpler narratives, more efficient, but racing is chaos. Knowing when to override the computer, that's where the human element survives.
If the engine doesn't blow up first. And that brings us to the war off the track. Because the manufacturers are threatening lawsuits before a single race has started, it is Mercedes versus the world.
This is the bombshell of the week, and it centers on a very technical term, the compression ratio.
Okay, unpack this for me. Explain it like I'm 5. What's the accusation?
Okay, think of the engine cylinder like a pressure cooker. The higher the pressure, the compression, the more power you get. The FIA has a strict rule on how to measure that pressure.
Right, to keep things fair.
Theoretically. But the rival group, Ferrari, Red Bull, Audi, Honda, are claiming Mercedes has found a loophole in how that pressure is measured. They think Mercedes has an engine that runs a much higher effective compression, giving them a huge horsepower advantage that isn't technically illegal.
So they want the rule changed now.
They want the measurement method changed immediately, but Mercedes is furious. Their stance is, we built this engine according to the regulations you gave us. We spent millions. If you change the rules now, we are going to court.
And honestly, they have a point. You can't tell a team to build an engine and then say, oops, you did too good a job, change it 2 weeks before the season starts.
They argue they physically do not have time to build a new spec. If the FIA forces a change, Mercedes has threatened legal action.
This feels like the old days. The blown diffuser, the mass damper. Usually, the innovator gets to kick their trick for a year.
Historically, yes. Mercedes holds the legal high ground. But the political pressure is immense. The other teams are terrified. They think Mercedes has locked in dominance for the whole regulation cycle.
And looking at the testing numbers from Barcelona, they should be terrified.
That shakedown was held in total secrecy, but the data always leaks. And the numbers tell a very, very scary story.
So who won the reliability test?
The Mercedes-powered teams, the Works team, McLaren and Alpine. Combined, they logged over 1,100 laps. They were running, learning, gathering data. That is gold dust right now.
1,100 laps. That's a lot of mileage. And the losers, who's in trouble?
Audi managed about 240 laps. Not great, not terrible. But the real crisis, the absolute disaster, is Honda.
How bad?
Catastrophic. Honda, supplying Aston Martin, logged a total of 66 laps.
66? Are you kidding me? Mercedes did over 1,000 and Honda couldn't crack 100.
It is a massive, massive deficit. You cannot simulate these issues in a factory. You need track time. Honda is starting the season effectively blind.
And we have to mention Aston Martin specifically. They arrived late, the car was incredibly green, and Williams missed the test entirely.
It means the early part of the championship won't be about speed. It will be about who actually finishes. If you have a Mercedes engine, you have a platform. If you're Honda or Audi, you are just praying the system doesn't melt.
This is shaping up to be a survival series, which brings me to the poor people trying to watch this at home. You mentioned a meeting between F1 management and the TV broadcasters, and the conclusion was panic.
Confusion, certainly. The broadcasters asked the simple question, how do we show this engine strategy to the viewer? And the answer was silence. It's invisible.
You can't see electrons. You can't see a software map on the screen.
Exactly. And because the usage depends on these pre-filed secret maps, even the TV directors don't know if a car slowing down on the straight is broken or if it's just being efficient.
So I'm sitting on my couch. I see a car slow down. The commentators don't know why. The graphics don't show it. That sounds incredibly frustrating.
It creates a lot of friction for the viewer. For an engineer, it's fascinating. But for the casual fan, it might just look like the cars are broken.
It sounds like we're walking into a season where engineers are playing a high-stakes video game and the drivers are just the avatars.
That's the real risk. When the car decides the strategy, decides when to pass, does the driver feel like a hero or just a passenger?
So let's wrap this up. We have cars slowing down on streets to charge. We have a legal war threatening to explode. We have Honda and Audi miles behind. And a viewing experience that might require an engineering degree.
It's going to be messy. It's going to be controversial.
Okay.
But it will be unpredictable. And unpredictability is exactly what F1 needs right now.
That is the silver lining. We aren't going to know who wins until the flag drops or the battery dies.
My final thought for everyone listening is this. We spent years asking for a driver's championship. We wanted the human to make the difference. But looking at these regulations, I have to ask, have we just created an engineer's championship? If the software is deciding where to deploy the energy, are we watching a sport or are we watching a math simulation?
That is the question that is going to haunt this entire season. If you want to survive the chaos of 2026, you cannot do it alone. You need the intel. You need to stay with us. Follow DRS Zone right now on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to be tracking every single lap, every legal threat, every battery failure. Don't miss a beat. We'll see you at the first corner.